If you need a way to collect payments online with no upfront costs, then Stripe is a great solution. In this video, we will look at how to set up a new Stripe account and begin receiving online payments. Stripe is a payment service provider that allows businesses, nonprofits, and individuals to accept debit and credit card payments. You can use it on any website, including WordPress, Wix, and Shopify. Let's take a closer look. First things first, you need a Stripe account, which is totally free. Head over to stripe.com to get started. Once you log in, Stripe will guide you through setting up your account. You'll need to provide business details, including your bank information for payouts, as well as verify your identity. This helps Stripe ensure secure transactions. Now that your account is set up, let's begin by collecting our first payment. The easiest way to do this is to create a payment link, which allows you to provide a link to someone to pay for a specific product, service, or subscription without having to complete an entire product portfolio. We'll start by adding our product. In this case, I'm adding a lilac candle as part of a spring collection for an upcoming street fair. I'll start by entering the product name. You can also choose to add a product description. And if you wish, add an image to each one of your products and services as well. Now we get into a little bit more complicated matters, which are taxes. Since tax information varies widely based on where you live and what you're collecting payment for, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail during this tutorial. But you can either go into your business settings to adjust tax information. Once you've set up your taxes, you can then choose whether it's a recurring or one-off payment, and then enter the payment amount. Stripe will automatically adjust the pricing to be in the user's account's local currency. I can then edit the unit quantity, and that's it. I'm done, and I can add my product. You can choose to add additional products or services to this particular payment link. You can also ask Stripe to collect additional client information, like a phone number or an address, which can be helpful if you're trying to build a lead list. On the right-hand side, you'll see a preview of what the payment will look like to the end customer. You can also choose to customize what the confirmation page the customer sees after payment is submitted. Once you're happy with how everything looks, you're done. Go ahead and create your link. Now that you have your link, you can either copy it here to send to a client, an email, add it to a social media post, etc. Or if you want to put it directly onto your website with a buy button, you can click here to get the code to copy to your site. You can also generate a QR code for no extra cost. This is really helpful, especially in this scenario where I'm selling something at a street fair. You can download this image and then a customer can just point their phone and quickly pay you. Pricing on Stripe is fairly straightforward. Stripe is free to set up, and the company does not charge a monthly or annual fee for its services. Instead, all Stripe fees are per transaction with transparent pricing. Online sales cost businesses 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. So if I sold a $12 candle, I'm going to receive $11.35. Here's an example of what your dashboard may look like once you've been using Stripe for a while. Payouts are typically sent to your bank account within 24 to 48 hours, and you can see what payments are coming up in the future. There's also an option for instant payments that you can set up in here as well. You can also see if any payments were failed, meaning the credit card transaction did not go through, and then take appropriate steps in order to rectify the situation. Now let's look at putting together a product catalog, which is what you'll want to do if you have a storefront or business with a number of products or services. You can add products or services the same way that we did in the previous step. This is the best method if you don't have a large catalog of products. Stripe does not have a bulk CSV Upload option. However, you can connect to their API for bulk uploads. Contact the sales team directly and they can help sign you up for Stripe Connect. Also, if you're using a third-party platform to help run your business, let's say HubSpot or Shopify, check out one of my favorite tools called Zapier, and the link is in the video description. They have a lot of tools that can help you upload your product catalog from existing third-party apps and help you manage it within Stripe, saving you a lot of time. Once you've added all of your products, you can always come back into the product catalog, click into the product to make edits, and also to look at detailed sales information. You can also export your products if you need it in a .csv file. Now let's take a look at adding customers to our Stripe account. Whenever a customer makes a purchase, their contact information will automatically be added to your account. But you can also add a customer's information manually by selecting Add Customer. Here you can add any pertinent information, including billing details, and then add that to your dashboard. Now let's talk about creating an invoice, which is a very similar process to what we did before when we created a payment link. You'll start by selecting your customer and confirming the currency. And then you can easily add items from your product catalog or create a new line item. So in this case, I'm going to add 2 different products so that you can see an example of what the invoice looks like on the right-hand side. I've added one, and then I'm going to add another. Once you're happy with how all of the products look, you'll select Save, and then you can confirm the payment details. You can select when the payment is due by, and you can also schedule a send date. So if you're doing your invoicing in advance and you have all of the client information already in your system, you can schedule the send date to make things a little bit more operationally efficient on your end. And then you could select the different payment options that you want to accept, and Stripe will manage all of these for you. If the customer already has a payment method on file in your Stripe account, you can also choose to auto-charge this customer. Now we have options for delivery. You can either choose for this invoice to be sent automatically to the customer's email that you entered above, or you can choose to not email the customer, and instead it's going to have an invoice just for you that you can then send to the customer yourself. Now here's where things can get a bit creative. If you want to add some additional personalization to your invoice, you can do that here. First, you can always start by utilizing a template. So you can create a new template, so this is all done automatically each time you send an invoice. Or you can choose to customize it each time. So for example, I can include a memo here thanking someone for their business, and then this is added to the invoice. You can also choose to add custom fields, a footer, and you can also decide how the PDF page looks. You can also add additional branding to your invoice by opening the branding settings. On the branding settings page, you can add an icon and a logo, as well as choose the colors that you want to appear across your brand. And these brand elements won't just appear on your invoice, but across your entire Stripe dashboard. So clients will be able to see that you have a streamlined aesthetic across all of your different pages and receipts. Now I could see what my final invoice looks like with the additional branding, and when I'm ready to send, I select Send Invoice. I can CC it to myself or anyone else, maybe in a product or operational capacity, confirm, and send. I'll be able to keep track of all of my invoice details and have additional options like downloading the invoice as a PDF, adding notes that only I can see, and also tracking activity from the time the invoice was sent until payment was received. We've now walked through the basics of how to get started with accepting payments on Stripe. You can also use Stripe's intuitive mobile app, where you can track all of your sales, create payment links, add customers, and control your product catalog. From basic to more advanced tools, Stripe offers options for everyone. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Please consider subscribing to our channel for more content like this. See you next time.